Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk about something that could redefine how you live, how you think, and ultimately how you grow. It's about silence. It's about distance. And it's about choosing to cut out the noise that's holding you back. We live in a world that's screaming for our attention every minute of every day. Friends, family, colleagues, everyone has an opinion, a story, a crisis. But let me ask you this, what would happen if you decided just for a moment to embrace silence? To cut off the contacts that don't serve you? What if you became so intentional about your words and your relationships that every connection you had was a source of strength and growth? Silence is power. Think about that. We've all been conditioned to believe that to get ahead, we need to speak up, to make noise, to be noticed, to be noticed. But there's an ancient strength in staying quiet and observing. The strongest people don't need to announce their strength, they simply are. In silence, you become your own master. You learn to tune out the noise, to stop reacting, and to start listening, really listening to what you need, to what matters. But it doesn't stop there. Silence alone isn't enough if your life is still filled with people who drain you. There are people around you who don't believe in your vision, who tell you what's not possible, who subtly or overtly drain your energy. You know who they are. And for you to grow, you must make the tough choice to cut those ties, not out of resentment, but out of respect for your journey, for the dreams you hold, for the incredible potential within you. When you choose silence and let go of those toxic ties, something magical happens. You reclaim your focus. Imagine having a mind as sharp as a laser, free from unnecessary distractions. That focus will become your greatest asset. It will keep you grounded when the storms of life hit. And it will propel you forward when the path seems unclear. What's more, by limiting who and what you let into your life, you start to become stronger within. Self-reliance isn't just about surviving on your own, it's about thriving. It's about trusting your own judgment, knowing that you have the strength, the insight, and the resilience to handle anything that comes your way. It's in these moments of solitude that you begin to know yourself more deeply. In silence, you have the space to reflect, to realign with your purpose, to envision who you want to become without outside influence. I remember this: when you guard your time, your mental space, and your relationships, you elevate the quality of your life. You're protecting the most valuable real estate you have, your mind and your spirit. You're building a life that aligns with your values, your ambitions, and your vision. That is power. Finally, don't speak unless it truly matters. Be intentional with your words. Every word you speak should have meaning, should inspire, should have weight. Silence teaches you that not every situation deserves a reaction, and not every reaction needs to be verbal. Speak with purpose, and your words will carry a strength that silence itself has gifted you. So if you're ready to claim this strength, then embrace the silence. Cut the contacts that no longer serve you, and watch how your life transforms. The power to change everything lies within you, and it starts now. Silence is often misunderstood as weakness or passivity, yet in reality it's a profound form of strength. When we're silent, we're not retreating, we're harnessing a force that allows us to tune into something beyond the noise of the world. Silence allows us to hold space for our thoughts, our intuition, and our inner strength. It's about choosing what we respond to, deciding where our energy goes, and owning the power of our presence. In silence, you don't feel the need to constantly explain or justify yourself. The need to be heard or understood by everyone around us often dilutes our energy. When we embrace silence, we stop allowing external voices to shape our sense of self. Instead, we tune into our own truth and our own voice. We gain the ability to observe life, to study situations without reacting impulsively. The most powerful people are those who don't feel compelled to react to every opinion, every challenge, or every distraction. Silence lets us sharpen our awareness because in the absence of noise, we can clearly see what matters. We begin to understand our thoughts without outside influence clouding them. It's like standing at the edge of a calm lake where the water reflects everything around it with perfect clarity. Silence allows our mind to reflect our surroundings, our relationships, and our ambitions. This clarity fuels our power. It gives us the ability to make better decisions, to focus on what truly deserves our attention, and to align with a purpose that resonates on a deeper level. Moreover, silence builds resilience. When you're silent, you train yourself to handle challenges without instantly reacting, without becoming overwhelmed by the pressures around you. This is a skill many overlook, but it's the very trait that keeps you grounded when everything else seems chaotic. It's easy to get swept up in emotions or impulses, but when you've practiced silence, you know how to sit with discomfort, how to process feelings without letting them control you. This resilience, this emotional stability is what separates those who are merely surviving from those who are genuinely thriving. And perhaps most importantly, silence becomes a filter. Not every battle is worth fighting, not every opinion deserves your response, and not every person deserves your energy. Silence helps you distinguish between what is urgent and what is important. It helps you preserve your energy for things that truly matter, things that align with your purpose. In doing so, you empower yourself to live on your own terms, to focus on your goals, and to cultivate relationships and opportunities that enrich your life rather than drain it. Silence isn't about withholding, it's about discerning. It's about being so grounded in your sense of purpose and value that you no longer feel compelled to prove anything to anyone. It's about finding the confidence to move through life with intentionality, knowing that the strength of your actions, not your words, will speak for you. Detoxing from negative influences is like clearing a path for personal transformation. Our lives are shaped by the people we surround ourselves with, the environments we choose, and the habits we cultivate. When we hold on to toxic relationships, environments, or thought patterns, we unknowingly limit our potential and cloud our perspective. Letting go of these influences is not just an act of removal, but one of self-respect, growth, and deep empowerment. First, negative influences can often appear harmless, even comfortable at first. We may have friends or acquaintances who we've known for years, yet their outlook and energy subtly drain us. They may be quick to criticize, to doubt our dreams, or to reinforce limiting beliefs. When we stay around such influences, we absorb their energy, sometimes without even realizing it. These people might have good intentions, but if they're clouding our vision or dampening our drive, we must be brave enough to step back. Detoxing from negative influences means allowing ourselves to envision a life filled with people who uplift and inspire us instead of those who hold us back. Our environments also play a huge role in shaping our mindset. Physical spaces filled with chaos or negativity breed a similar mental state. A cluttered or disorganized environment can lead to scattered thoughts and hinder our focus. On the other hand, an intentional environment, be it home, work, or social spaces, can become a sanctuary that empowers us. Detoxing from negative physical spaces or work environments that stifle creativity and encourage complacency allows us to reclaim the mental clarity we need to pursue growth. The energy we allow in our surroundings affects everything from our motivation to our emotional resilience, so curating positive, supportive environments becomes a powerful act of self-care. Detoxing also means examining our own habits, especially the ones that don't align with our goals. We may have internalized self-doubt or developed the habit of talking ourselves out of taking risks. These habits are negative influences too, because they undermine our belief in what we can achieve. Breaking away from these negative patterns requires awareness and persistence. When we recognize self-defeating thoughts, we create the possibility of replacing them with beliefs and habits that propel us forward. By letting go of these internal negative influences, we align ourselves with the person we aspire to become. The detox process isn't always easy. We may feel guilt, discomfort, or resistance, especially when it involves stepping back from relationships or long-standing patterns. But detoxing from negative influences is an investment in ourselves. It's a choice to prioritize well-being over comfort, to put our personal growth ahead of temporary security. Every time we let go of negativity, we create space for positivity. We create space for people who bring out the best in us, for environments that inspire us, and for habits that bring us closer to our goals. Ultimately, detoxing from negative influences is about preserving our energy, our focus, and our inner peace that allows us to grow unencumbered by the weights that once held us down. We become freer, more confident, and more aligned with our purpose. This process not only transforms how we feel, but also reshapes what we believe is possible for our lives. When we let go of negativity, we open ourselves up to a world of possibility, opportunity, and growth. We step into a life where we are surrounded by people, environments, and beliefs that nourish and uplift us. In doing so, we reclaim the power to design our lives intentionally and fearlessly. Strengthening self-reliance is about building a foundation of trust within yourself. It's about cultivating the belief that you can navigate any challenge, that you have the resilience and skills necessary to create the life you want. Self-reliance is an empowering shift from external dependence to internal confidence, and this transformation can reshape every area of your life. When you become self-reliant, you realize that while help from others can be beneficial, you do not need it to be whole or successful. You are your own source of strength and direction. Self-reliance starts with the decision to trust in your abilities, even when the path is unclear or intimidating. Many people hold back because they believe they need others to validate or support their choices. But building self-reliance requires developing the courage to make decisions and take risks on your own. You begin to step out of the need for approval, learning to rely on your intuition and knowledge. As you make decisions independently, you gain confidence in your judgment. You discover that even if you make mistakes, you can learn and grow from them, reinforcing your ability to handle whatever comes next. A significant part of self-reliance is developing the skills and knowledge to back up your confidence, whether it's financial independence, practical life skills, or emotional resilience. Building competencies in different areas gives you a strong foundation. When you know that you can manage your finances, cook your meals, solve problems, and regulate your emotions, you become more resilient. This independence isn't about isolating yourself, but about ensuring that you're equipped to handle life's challenges. With each skill you master, you empower yourself further, reinforcing the belief that you are capable and resourceful. Self-reliance also involves taking full responsibility for your life and circumstances. Instead of waiting for others to rescue you or blaming external factors, you learn to embrace accountability. You stop expecting others to fulfill your needs and begin to fulfill them yourself. This doesn't mean you're isolated. It means you choose to be the primary architect of your life. This mindset shift removes feelings of helplessness and puts you back in control. Even in situations where life feels challenging, self-reliance allows you to find solutions to adapt and to push forward. You stop viewing obstacles as barriers and start seeing them as opportunities to develop resilience. Emotional independence is another key component. When we rely on others to make us feel valued, validated, or loved, we surrender our emotional well-being to factors outside our control. Strengthening self-reliance means learning to cultivate self-compassion, self-respect, and inner peace without external validation. You learn to manage your emotions, to soothe yourself in difficult times, and to celebrate your own achievements. This emotional independence doesn't close you off from meaningful relationships, but it means you're not dependent on others for your happiness. You bring a full, empowered self into your relationships, which enhances their quality and depth. Self-reliance also allows you to set boundaries more effectively. When you are not dependent on others for approval or resources, you become more discerning about who you allow into your life. You begin to see that your time, energy, and attention are valuable, and you protect them from people or situations that don't align with your values or goals. Self-reliance teaches you that saying no is not selfish, it's an affirmation of your priorities and your respect for yourself. These boundaries create a life that is truly yours, where you control your interactions and choose relationships that enhance your growth. Strengthening self-reliance doesn't mean rejecting support from others, but it does mean not waiting around for it. You learn to value the help you receive without becoming dependent on it. Self-reliance creates a sense of security within that isn't easily shaken. Even if circumstances change or support from others is unavailable, you know that, come what may, you have the tools and mindset to succeed. It's a powerful, liberating realization that leads to a life of fulfillment and freedom. The journey to self-reliance is one of the most empowering paths you can take. It's about stepping into your own authority, becoming the reliable, grounded, and resilient person you know you can be. With self-reliance, you no longer feel a need to compromise your values or your dreams for the sake of anyone else. You live by your own standards, you trust your instincts, and you create a life that's fully aligned with your values. Self-reliance is a gift to yourself, one that keeps giving, one that builds your strength, and one that allows you to live authentically, courageously, and purposefully. Empowering self-reflection is about actively engaging with your inner self, stepping into a mindset where introspection becomes a tool for growth, clarity, and transformation. Many people move through life reacting to circumstances without taking the time to look inward and ask, what do I really want? Who am I becoming? Self-reflection changes this. It's the practice of understanding yourself on a deeper level, examining your thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors, and taking charge of your personal evolution. When we empower self-reflection, we cultivate awareness, and awareness that doesn't just scratch the surface but goes deep. This process involves more than casual thinking. It's about dedicated, mindful exploration. True self-reflection asks for honesty, often prompting us to confront uncomfortable truths. Perhaps we see patterns of self-sabotage or realize that our choices are not aligned with our goals. But by examining these aspects without judgment, we give ourselves the power to change them. Self-reflection becomes a mirror, one that reveals not just who we are today, but who we have the potential to become. Self-reflection allows us to assess our values, our priorities, and our habits. It's easy to fall into routines and habits simply because they are familiar. But when we take time to reflect, we can see which habits serve us and which don't. It's an opportunity to evaluate if our actions align with our values, if we're dedicating time to what truly matters to us. Self-reflection empowers us to make conscious decisions rather than relying on autopilot. Each time we pause to reflect, we can course correct, making adjustments that bring us closer to the life we envision. This process also deepens our emotional intelligence. Through self-reflection, we become more attuned to our feelings, reactions, and triggers. Instead of merely reacting to emotions, we learn to observe and understand them. For example, if we feel frustration, we can dig deeper to understand the source. Is it fear, unmet expectations, or a need for change? Understanding our emotions allows us to respond more constructively and mindfully. Emotional awareness gained from self-reflection can improve our relationships as it teaches us empathy and patience both for ourselves and others. Empowered self-reflection is also a path to healing. Many of us carry past wounds, fears, or limiting beliefs that influence our lives. By reflecting, we can trace back to where these patterns began and understand their impact on our choices and behaviors. This awareness creates space for healing as we start to let go of old stories and limiting beliefs. Self-reflection gives us permission to forgive ourselves, to learn from past experiences, and to move forward with greater resilience and compassion. It's a process that helps us shed what no longer serves us and embrace the freedom to redefine ourselves. Setting aside dedicated time for self-reflection transforms it into a practice that grounds us. This could mean journaling, meditating, or simply spending quiet moments in thought. The consistency of this practice is what makes it powerful. Regular self-reflection builds a habit of mindfulness, creating a space in our lives where we can step back, process, and refocus. It's a way to reconnect with our inner compass, to ensure that we're not just reacting to life, but actively shaping it. Empowering self-reflection ultimately strengthens our sense of purpose. Each moment of introspection brings us closer to our true selves, clarifying what we want to contribute, achieve, or experience. It removes the noise, the influence of others, and the distractions that often cloud our vision. When we reflect, we become better at making decisions that honor our true desires and goals. We step into a life where every choice is intentional, every step is aligned with a greater vision, and we feel a deeper sense of fulfillment and direction. Self-reflection is not about perfection, it's about growth. It's about creating a dialogue with ourselves that fuels our journey toward becoming the best version of who we are. Each time we reflect, we empower ourselves to take responsibility for our lives, to embrace change, and to walk with a greater sense of clarity, purpose, and self-awareness. Through self-reflection, we unlock the door to our potential, empowering ourselves to live more authentically, to pursue our goals with intention, and to lead a life that feels deeply aligned with who we are at our core. Preserving mental space is about protecting our mind from constant distractions, overload, and stress so that we can think clearly, make wise decisions, and live with intention. In today's fast-paced world, our mental space is continuously bombarded by notifications, obligations, expectations, and the non-stop stream of information. This can lead to mental clutter, leaving us feeling drained, scattered, and disconnected from what truly matters to us. Preserving mental space means creating boundaries and practices that protect this inner sanctuary, allowing us to nurture focus, peace, and clarity. One of the first steps to preserving mental space is becoming selective about what we allow in. The mind is powerful, but it's also sensitive to everything we expose it to. Every piece of news, every conversation, every interaction has an impact, whether we realize it or not. When we choose to surround ourselves only with things that are purposeful, uplifting, or necessary, we're actively shaping the quality of our inner world. This means being mindful of who we spend time with, what media we consume, and how we fill our day-to-day environments. Each choice is a form of mental filtering, and by being intentional, we guard our mental energy for what truly deserves our attention. Mental space is also preserved through the practice of saying no more often. Many of us feel compelled to say yes to requests or opportunities out of obligation or fear of missing out, even when they aren't aligned with our goals or well-being. But every yes to something that doesn't serve us takes away mental energy and space from things that do. Learning to say no with confidence is one of the most powerful ways to protect mental space. It's a way of asserting our right to prioritize, focusing on what fuels us rather than what drains us. Another important part of preserving mental space is letting go of the need to control everything. We often waste mental energy on worry, overthinking, and trying to manage outcomes beyond our control. When we let go of the need to control, we allow ourselves to focus on what we can influence, our actions, reactions, and choices. This shift not only frees up mental space, but also reduces anxiety and stress. Letting go isn't about apathy, it's about reclaiming the energy we would otherwise spend on things we cannot change, redirecting it to aspects of life where we can actually make a difference. Preserving mental space also means creating intentional downtime, a rare commodity in today's always-on culture. This is the space for rest, reflection, and renewal where we can let our mind breathe. Taking breaks from screens, spending time in nature, or simply engaging in activities that relax and recharge us helps prevent burnout and keeps our mind fresh. Mental downtime allows our brain to process information, gain perspective, and foster creativity. When we protect time for these quiet moments, we are preserving mental space for clear thinking, innovation, and insight. Creating routines and practices that simplify decision-making also helps maintain mental space. We face countless small decisions every day, from what to wear to what to eat, and each one requires mental energy. By creating habits or routines around simple tasks, we free up our minds from decision fatigue. This can be as simple as having a morning routine, planning meals ahead, or organizing our tasks. When we automate minor aspects of our lives, we leave more space for deep thinking, creativity, and problem solving. Setting boundaries around technology is another essential practice. Our devices, while useful, can often lead to a state of perpetual distraction. Constant notifications and the habit of mindless scrolling can fragment our focus and reduce mental space for things that truly matter. By setting limits on screen time, curating the apps we use, and creating tech-free times or zones in our day, we protect our mind from constant interruptions. This helps us cultivate a state of flow where we can engage deeply in our work, thoughts, or creative pursuits without distraction. Finally, preserving mental space requires regular mental decluttering. Just as we organize and clean our physical space, our minds benefit from a similar process. This might involve journaling to clear out thoughts, practicing mindfulness or meditation, or simply taking time to process our emotions and let go of mental baggage. Regular mental decluttering allows us to release worries, grievances, and unresolved thoughts. It's a practice of resetting, giving our mind the space to be clear and open and ready for new ideas, perspectives, and growth. Preserving mental space isn't just about reducing stress, it's about cultivating an environment where our mind can thrive. When our mental space is clear, we can focus more effectively, make better decisions, and experience greater emotional resilience. We become more present, more mindful, and more in control of our reactions. Ultimately, preserving mental space is an investment in our well-being, clarity, and creativity. It empowers us to live intentionally, to pursue our goals with focus, and to create a life that feels aligned and fulfilling. Choosing to speak only when necessary is a powerful practice rooted in intention and purpose. In a world where words are often thrown around casually, mindlessly filling silence, or driven by the need for approval, the decision to be selective about our speech elevates our communication and brings clarity to our interactions. When we speak only when necessary, our words carry weight, conveying purpose, confidence, and meaning. This practice transforms our relationships, sharpens our focus, and allows us to live with a heightened awareness of how we engage with the world. Speaking only when necessary starts with the awareness that words have energy and impact. Each word we say can influence others and shape our environment. By choosing our words carefully, we conserve energy and create a more thoughtful, respectful atmosphere. Instead of contributing to noise, we contribute to understanding. Speaking less allows us to consider the value and consequences of what we say, so when we do speak, it comes from a place of insight, not impulse. This habit not only enhances our effectiveness as communicators, but also fosters a sense of integrity, as our words are aligned with our thoughts and intentions. Listening deeply becomes possible when we are not preoccupied with responding or filling the silence. In many conversations, the focus shifts from truly listening to simply waiting for a chance to speak. When we choose to speak only when necessary, we open ourselves to active listening to understand rather than to reply. This shift creates a space of respect and empathy, where we can fully appreciate others' perspectives and respond thoughtfully. By listening intently, we gain insight, learn more, and are often better equipped to respond in a way that truly addresses the situation. This practice of mindful speech also encourages us to break away from reactive communication. Often we feel pressured to respond immediately, particularly in tense or emotional situations, leading to words that may be regretted or misunderstood. When we speak only when necessary, we cultivate patience, allowing ourselves time to process emotions and form a clear, grounded response. In doing so, we minimize misunderstandings, reduce conflicts, and communicate more effectively. The act of pausing before speaking also gives us time to assess our intentions and ensures that our words are constructive rather than reactionary. Speaking only when necessary also deepens our sense of self-control and awareness. It takes discipline to hold back in situations where it might feel easier to fill the air with words, but this restraint empowers us, helping us focus on what is truly important. Instead of wasting energy on idle chatter or unnecessary explanations, we direct our energy toward meaningful interactions. This practice builds confidence as we become less concerned with gaining approval or filling uncomfortable silences. Instead, we find comfort in our own presence and inner thoughts, reinforcing self-assurance and independence. Another key benefit of speaking only when necessary is that it enhances the impact of our words. When we speak sparingly, people pay more attention because they understand that our words carry significance. Our voice, our presence in conversation becomes a source of wisdom rather than background noise. People know that when we choose to say something, it is thoughtful and intentional. This approach makes us more effective communicators, leaders, and influencers as we create a natural respect in others who recognize the authenticity in our communication. Practicing restraint in speech also reduces mental clutter. Constant talking, particularly about trivial matters, can scatter our thoughts and drain our mental energy. By conserving words, we give ourselves time to process and reflect, leading to clearer thinking. We become more intentional about the ideas and topics we dwell on, filtering out unnecessary information. In turn, this leaves space for more valuable insights, perspectives, and realizations. It's an approach that nurtures clarity and helps us stay centered in our thoughts, creating a grounded mental state that supports our well-being. Choosing to speak only when necessary also protects us from engaging in gossip, judgment, or negativity, which can often arise from thoughtless speech. When we are intentional about our words, we avoid conversations that might harm others or fuel unnecessary drama. This choice not only preserves our integrity, but also contributes to an atmosphere of respect and kindness. By refraining from negative or trivial talk, we raise the quality of our interactions and encourage those around us to do the same. Our silence becomes a force for positivity, setting an example of mindful, constructive communication. Ultimately, speaking only when necessary is about creating a life where every word has purpose. It allows us to build relationships on a foundation of honesty and respect, as people come to trust that our words are sincere and meaningful. It sharpens our ability to listen, to understand, and to empathize. It fosters inner peace, reduces stress, and enhances self-awareness as we become more mindful of what we express. In this way, speaking only when necessary becomes a profound practice of self-respect, mental clarity, and authentic connection. It's a choice that shapes our interactions, our mindset, and our very sense of who we are, enabling us to communicate with true purpose and integrity. In choosing silence, in choosing careful words, and in choosing to protect our mental space, we empower ourselves to live with intention, clarity, and purpose. When we learn to detox from negativity, strengthen our self-reliance, and speak only when necessary, we reclaim control over our lives. We cultivate a mindset that isn't shaped by the noise around us, but by our own values, goals, and self-awareness. This way of living isn't just about withdrawing from others or cutting ties, it's about aligning with the truth of who we are and what we want. It's about creating a life that resonates with peace and meaning. By preserving our mental space and speaking mindfully, we focus on what truly matters, deepening our relationships, our goals, and our inner strength. In silence, we find our power. In self-reflection, we discover our truth. And in simplicity, we unlock the full potential of who we are meant to be. So let this be a call to action. Embrace the power of silence, protect your inner sanctuary, and live with mindful purpose, because when you honor yourself, everything else falls into place.